Good afternoon. I'm Tim Carter. This is Ask the Builder. Welcome. It's Friday, March. What is it? Gosh, March 25th. Holy tomato! We've burned through March almost already. Wow. It's hard to believe. Hard to believe. If you have not checked in yet, if you're a lurkers, just so you know, think about this. Have you ever lived someplace where you've got like a fence around you, and there might be cracks in the fence and holes, and you look and you swear you see somebody looking through the hole of the fence? That's a lurker. So no one likes lurkers. no one no one likes lurkers. Hi, Don. So anyway, check in, say hello, and sometimes you have to remind me what your superpowers are. And the reason I want to know about your superpowers are because, one, I may have a question for you, and number two, if someone asks a question and I remember in the chat, like, oh gosh, we've got two people here who are very knowledgeable about that, then I want you to chime in, assuming you're still here. All right, in a few minutes, we're going to talk about the qualities of the best deck sealers. I know all about it. I know all about it, and I got some exciting news. I actually have to copy and paste this URL into the chat stream. It would help for you to go here and fill out that form. Hi, Dave. How you doing? Pleasure to meet you. Glad you're here. We're going to talk about deck sealers in just a moment. I will share. Today was kind of a salmon day for me. I got my newsletter done. I typically build my newsletter every Friday, and it goes out automatically on Sunday morning about 5 a.m. And pretty good. I think it's a pretty good newsletter. I did a little exercise with people because I got people a little riled up last Sunday. Had a couple of people unsubscribe, and the reason why is they're you may not agree with this, but here in America, if you're watching and you live here in the United States, we're engaged in a civil war here in our country right now. A lot of people go, oh, no, we're not. No, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're in a civil war. And, people are very polarized about any number of issues. And that's being done by design to try to divide us. It's just a page out of Caesar's playbook, divide and conquer. So they divide and conquer everybody on everything, and just get everybody pissed off at each other. That's on purpose. All right. So, so just this little thing I was doing in my newsletter about inflation, just telling the truth about inflation, just set some people off. They automatically read politics into it, and it's like, no, not really political. I mean, it is to a degree, because if you have all these politicians, a lot of them voting for stuff and voting for bills, and where we don't have the money, I guess you could say it's political, but I didn't say anything political in the piece. Anyway, it pissed a lot of people off. So I talked about how I called the Civil War the war of northern aggression. All right. So in my newsletter this Sunday, if you've not subscribed, you really should, because you're going to see a really interesting exercise, and how, to explain to people why I called it that. So I don't want to give it away here. Just subscribe to the newsletter. The link's right up above in the chat, and just read the Sunday newsletter. If you don't like it, then just unsubscribe. It's no big deal. So anyway, all right, Steve. Let's see what your question is. Okay, back in the 50s in my mom's hometown, okay, all right, I understand. Got it. You're going to typing some more. Got it. Fancy house, great materials. A lot of those in Cincinnati, Ohio. I can drive you down street after street of how, that's where I grew up, of houses built just like that. Today it's ice water. Okay. While we're waiting for Steve, we're going to talk about deck sealers, and then I'll pick up with Steve in just a little bit. if you have ever stained regular wood, like interior woodwork, you'll you know that typically the stain that you get, it's really heavily based in mineral spirits and whatever, and it soaks into the wood, and it's got these ultra fine pigment particles. I mean, just so fine, like maybe the size of a grain of flour or smaller, and it takes those pigment particles actually into the wood, and which is why the wood changes color. All right, and the stain itself. So if you stain a piece of wood and you let it dry, and you've stained it properly. After it's dry, if you run your hand across it or lightly touch it with a towel, generally you're not going to get anything off. The stain is in the wood. And that's years ago, that's how many of the deck sealers were. The trouble is that, hello, Bob, Ann Arbor. Good. That's great. Good. Michigan. What a state. Great, beautiful state, by the way. But the problem is that type of a sealer creates a matte finish. And a lot of people don't like matte finishes. They prefer, there's something about a semi-gloss or even a glossy finish. Just think about your car. In other words, just about every single car or pickup truck or whatever, the paint is glossy, all right? And they look nice when they're clean. But if you had a matte finish car, they just, for some reason in our brains are programmed to, we really like glossy things and we think they're clean and beautiful and whatever. We attribute all these positive characteristics to things that are glossy. Matte finish, not so much. And in the past 20 years, the deck sealer manufacturers seem to have gravitated to making deck sealers that have that glossy appearance. Well, the way they do that is the formulation changes, and basically the product becomes a film former. Remember what I just described before, the stain would go into the wood and it doesn't really sit up on the surface. Well, many of the current deck sealers are film formers where some of it goes into the wood, some of it soaks in, but some of it stays up on top. And what happens, if you haven't noticed this, they peel and they look horrible. Because if you've applied a deck sealer and some of it peels off and some of it doesn't, and then you apply a new sealer, you have this really blotchy appearance. It looks horrible, which then causes people to have to strip off all of the old finish. It's really a nightmare. I decided that I was going to try to find a penetrating finish, and I think I found it. I think I found a really good one. And I'm about to tape a video. So I applied it 2 years ago. Still looks remarkably well. And I also stained a control board that's been in my garage for 2 years. I stained it the same day, same can of stain, everything's the same. And then as soon as it dried, I carried it into my garage, put it underneath my workbench where there'd be no sunlight getting to it, no water, no rain, no anything. So that as soon as we have a halfway decent day, I'm going to go down and record this video with this test board, this control board, right on the other wood, so you can see exactly how well the current deck looks. So it's going to be really fascinating. But the important thing is I don't think that it doesn't appear that this product is a film former. We're going to find out. So film former is no good. If you want to ask any questions about anything you want to know about deck sealers, start to type your questions in, and I'll gladly answer them. I'll talk a little bit more about it in just a minute. Let's pick up with Steve's question here. Will's here. All right. So continued. It's 3,000 square feet on a slab. Okay. House burned a couple of years ago. Okay. House was carefully assembled and hauled away. They left the concrete slab, driveway, sidewalk. Okay. Property is up for sale. Question is the 65-year concrete superior to today's? Is there some benefit to building on this slab? Trying to understand the purpose. The answer is maybe, maybe here's here's the thing with concrete. I've talked about this a lot. I've got a lot of columns on the website about concrete. Here, let's just first talk about what is concrete. Just the most basic concrete. It's got 4 ingredients, right? There's 4 things in it. What are they? What are the 4 things that are in concrete? Can you think about them? Okay, I'll help you. We got stones, all right, they range in size from pea size up to maybe the size of a grape, like a nice big green grape. We've got sand, and you know what sand is, right? So sand is just rock. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't realize that sand is rock, and just very tiny pieces of rock. Then the next ingredient is Portland cement. That's a gray powder, and that's also rock. All right, you make cement from limestone and shale, and then the 4th ingredient is what? Water. Okay, that's it. Now you can make concrete with some additives, whatever. So rock in and of itself is naturally strong. That's why we use it within the concrete. So the strength of the concrete is a function of how much cement is used when you mix it. It's just like adding sugar to iced tea. If you just put in a little bit, the iced tea doesn't taste very sweet. The more sugar you put in, the sweeter it gets. Okay. And you can make it too sweet, of course. That's about the best analogy I can give you. The thing is, the concrete that was poured 65 years ago in this wonderful house may have been inferior, but I doubt it. Based on your description, it sounds like it was a really great builder. They knew back then how to make strong concrete. They probably poured a 7 or an 8 bag mix, whereas today they've kind of dropped the minimum standard. They say the minimum should be a 6 bag mix, and that means 6 bags of cement per cubic yard of concrete. And but I'll give you an example of going the other direction. Back in the day, back in the late 1800s, the companies that were running the railroads, they were run by some pretty smart guys. They understood that it's very disruptive to try to reroute a train. In other words, the trains on the track, they need to keep running. That's how the railroads make money. You cannot have the track, broken or derailed or whatever, washed out. That means that whenever you build a bridge, that bridge needs to last a long time, and it just cannot fail. So the bridge abutments in many cases are built out of concrete. And the railroad guys told the engineers, not the train engineers, the civil engineers, they said, listen, we want you pour that concrete, but I don't want that concrete going bad. It needs to last for a long time, 80, maybe 100 years or more. Okay, we can do it. And so they did. So they probably poured, I don't know, 10 bag, 12 bag mix. And I can take you by lots of railroad bridge abutments that were poured in the early 1900s. So they're over 100 years old. They still look pretty good. I can take you to Cincinnati, Ohio, where 100 years ago, they were pouring the concrete for the Cincinnati subway system. And they had this guardrail stuff above the tunnels up on Central Parkway. It's still there. I can take you right now to Cincinnati. I've got pictures of it on my website. Go to askthebuilder.com, and in the search engine, type Cincinnati subway. And I guarantee you'll see those pictures come up, or type Central Parkway. So, Steve, this concrete may be in great shape. The fire would not have hurt it that much. You can always do a concrete overlay. But the problem that I have is that I'm not a big person I don't like to build on slabs for a host of reasons. Being a plumber, I'm a master plumber. I just have this thing where if you can make it that I have access to my building drains, I'm good. I just want to have access to the building drains. But that's even hard in basements because you're going to put the pipes below that basement slab. The point I'm trying to make is that I don't know that I would want to build a new home on this slab and then use the old building drains. I may want to have a complete different floor plan, you may be tearing up so much of the slab, it's not even worth it. It's just easier to take it out. I mean, you bring in an excavator, 3,000 square feet. I could go in there with it, with one of these. I could go in there with one of these, full size one, like a 310, and I would have that slab up and gone and out of the way in about 2 hours time. 2 hours. Cost about, I don't know, $300 an hour for one of these, maybe 400 now. So anyway, I just get rid of the slab. All right. If you have any questions about deck sealers, ask them now in the chat. Happy to do it. Happy to answer any question you have about deck sealers. I'll talk a little bit more about them. One of the really interesting products, I haven't, well, I don't watch a lot of TV. I only watch I think I only watch 30 minutes a night, 30 minutes a day of television. And I don't see, all I see are medicine ads. Medicine and lose weight ads. That's anyway. So I used to see a lot of Thompson Water Seal ads, this time of year. They blow their budget, in the spring. And back in the day, and I think they still might do it. So Thompson's Water Seal, it's, they have very flashy commercials, but they used to make the product. My opinion is that product was just made with animal fat. That was the primary ingredient. Used to be like a form release agent, for concrete forms. And, they noticed how water would beat up a lot. But the trouble with animal fat is that it's like me having a filet mignon or lobster tail. That's what mold and mildew loves to eat is oil, like foods like that, any kind of natural oil. So sometimes some of these deck sealers, within a few months, they turn black from mold and mildew. So you have to be really careful about that. Hello, Vanessa. You're welcome, Steve. I don't know that I really answered your question, just that, I don't know that I want to build on that. I just think the floor plan might be different. People live in houses a little differently than they did 65 years ago. The other thing about deck sealers, I'll tell you this right now. So first of all, you have to have the deck really clean. It's just like the best analogy. I give this analogy all the time. Let's say you're going to go out to dinner. It's a Saturday night. You're going to go out with your sweetheart. And you've been working, it's a hot day, and you've been working out in the yard, and you're just sweaty and dirty and filthy. I mean, you're not going to go inside and take your clothes off and put your good clothes on. Come on. You're going to take a shower, and you're going to really clean yourself, and you're going to rub your skin, you're going to put soap and rub your skin, rinse yourself off. You're going to be nice and clean. All right. So that's what you have to do to a deck. I mean, before you go to seal it, you really have to clean it. And pressure washers, they damage the wood. They erode the softer spring wood that's growing right now. Chlorine bleach, horrible thing to use. It's toxic. It takes the color out of wood. It's so strong it destroys the lignin, which is the chemical bond between wood fibers. It also is very corrosive to the metal, all the metal connectors, the nail screws, joist hangers. And of course, it's very, very toxic. If you have any trees nearby, any expensive vegetation, you're going to kill them all. You might not kill them that year. You keep washing your deck with chlorine bleach, you're going to kill them all. I know, because my neighbor did it. I tried to warn her. She didn't listen to me. I told that story before. Best cleaner for decks, oxygen bleach. This happens to be the best one made in America. Stain solver. So stain solver, just a white powder that you mix with hot water, stir it up for a minute or two, make sure it's all dissolved. Put it on the wood, dry wood. Always want to apply it to dry. It starts to foam and bubble, and the oxygen ions are actually cleaning the wood. And the longer you let it work, the less you have to scrub. Lightly scrub the deck, rinse it off with a hose. Wood looks beautiful. Doesn't hurt anything. It actually helps all the plants, puts oxygen into the soil. Doesn't hurt the connectors, doesn't hurt the nails or screws, doesn't take the color out of wood, doesn't hurt the lignin, blah, blah, blah. Good product. All right, so then you want to let the wood dry. Then what you also want to do is you want to read the label. Always read the label on your deck sealer. Okay, most people just think, I don't need to read the label. What do I need to read the label for? Well, it's probably a good idea. So just take a minute or two and read the label. See what it says. It'll tell you, how to apply it. It'll tell you what the temperature range should be. And I can tell you from experience, the worst time to seal a deck is in the middle of the day on a hot sunny day with breezy. You do not want to do that. The best conditions to seal a deck would be, I don't know, 65 degrees, overcast, no threat of rain, but just nice overcast day. You want that sealer to dry slow. The slower it dries, the better. Hi, Rocco. Will wants to know, will sanding off a deck be as good? Well, no, I don't think so, Will. I would wash the deck first. I would wash it, just like I said, with stain solver, let it dry, and then I would sand it off. Because stain solver, it's such a strong cleaner that it can remove a lot of the old oxidized and sun damaged sealer. So it actually might make it that you have to sand less. But sanding a deck, oh my gosh, what a flipping horrible job. It's horrible. Horrible job. All right. Any questions you have about deck sealers? I'm happy to answer them. I thought for sure we'd have a lot of questions about deck sealers. There's a lot of confusion about them. A lot of people, you just have to realize that a lot of the products out there now are film formers. They're just horrible. I think they put a little bit of urethane in with them, and when they fail, they start to peel, and it's just horrible. It's horrible. You're welcome, Will. You're welcome. So what other questions do you have? And also, you may have a question that has nothing to do with deck sealers. Go ahead and ask it, just like Steve's question. I don't care what question you have. You can ask anything. You can ask anything about anything. I don't care. I don't care what you ask about. You could ask about bobcats, and I'll be able to talk to you about bobcats. Here's why. So yesterday, I don't know, around noon, my phone rings, and it's Kathy. Because we're like miles apart in the house here. I'm as far away from her as possible. Not necessarily because I want to be. She might like it that way, but anyway, she says, "Hey, you're not going to believe what I just saw." What? I go, "Tell me." She goes, I just come back inside, and I'd fed the birds, and the squirrels were out there eating the bird seed, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, whew, this bobcat captures this flipping squirrel and drags it off. And while she's saying that, I'm looking out my window right here. There's a big window right here, and I see this thing moving across the driveway. I go, "Oh, I see it right now." So the bobcat was taking the squirrel, big fat gray squirrel. Oh my gosh. And he was just, carefully carrying that thing up to his lair, up to his nest up in the hill. And it was pretty cool to see. I mean, the bobcat, so I did a lot of research on this morning. They are really a beautiful cat. I mean, they have like this very stubby tail, very, very distinctive ears, a really, really cool marking. I mean, they are so camouflaged. Oh my gosh. And it was pretty muscular. I mean, it was like the size of like half the size of a normal German Shepherd, maybe a little smaller. And what I was surprised about in the research, I went to the New Hampshire Fish and Game website, is that in the wild, and I guess they've tagged these things, their lifespan's only 3 to 5 years, but in captivity, they can live up to 30 years. So it's really a hard life, in the wild. And I was trying to think what I just thought they might be an apex predator. I mean, you're allowed to hunt them here in New Hampshire, and maybe the hunters are taking them out. I guess I don't know, which is their whole lifespan thing. But I don't know that there's a bigger, more badass animal that other than a mountain lion. I think we might have mountain lions in New Hampshire. I don't know about that, but But I mean, I just can't imagine what would kick the ass of a bobcat. So anyway, what do I know? Squirrels. I think squirrel is tasty. I think it's a really interesting meat. I'll tell you what, the squirrel, Kathy, my wife, has been feeding these things. They're either fat or they're muscular or both. I'm telling you, they're everywhere. I mean, when I look at my window, these squirrels they're running up these trees. I mean, they're 100 feet in the air, jumping around in the trees. Crazy. We have two types of squirrels here. We have the grays, the bigger ones. We have these other squirrels, these red squirrels that are about half the size of the grays. And these red squirrels, they are so flippin' feisty. I'll tell you what, they're just amazing. All right, so enough about animals. So that's what that was really interesting yesterday to see that bobcat. If you have any questions about anything, that's what fuels the live stream. In other words, your questions are the fuel for the live stream. If you don't ask questions, then I just run out of things to talk about. So that's not good. So I need you to type questions, observations, whatever it might be. Just type it into the live stream. Type it in the chat. Ask me anything. I really don't care what you ask me. And also, you're supposed to check in. You're supposed to check in. That's the polite thing to do. I mean, you wouldn't go to somebody's house and just walk in the door and just start and go sit down. I mean, you'd introduce yourself, right? Come on. Supposed to check in. Tomorrow, I might be getting the whiteboard. Alvertes, thank you for checking in. I have 2 brand new decks. Okay. All right. Number 2, prime pressure treated wood. Okay. All right. 2 great questions. I would let me ask this question. Where can you just tell me the state that you live in? What state do you live in? I don't know if there's a latency in the how behind the chat is today. Hi, Jack. Thanks for checking in. So, Alvertes, what state do you live in? I know you probably typed in already hit return, and YouTube's slow as molasses. There we go. Thank you. South Carolina. Okay. You're starting to get some pretty good weather. So you would have to do the moisture test. I recorded a video about this 2 years ago. Let me see if I can find it. What was the title of that video? I'm just going to put treated lumber video. It was a water absorption test, but I don't know what I titled it. I can't remember now. I'm trying to find it on my website. It's coming up. Come on. I don't know where it is. Anyway, Alvertes. All right, so I'll get to your question. So if you can put a drop of water on the wood and it soaks into the wood after about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, it's time to seal it. All right, it's time to seal it. What's the best sealer? I am going to have, you need to go here. You need to go to this link. You need to do 2 things. You need to go to that link I just pasted in the chat, and you need to fill out, you just need to take this quick 1-question survey. It's totally anonymous. You do not have to enter your name or address or anything, none of that. And then you need to subscribe to my newsletter, which is here. And what's going to happen is I am going to record a video within hopefully 3 weeks. And that video, it's a test result video I've been conducting a test for the last 2 years. And I'm going to reveal in that video the product that I used. All right. So you want to be on my newsletter list, because as soon as that video becomes available, you need to get it. All right. So you need to be able to watch that video. So that's how you're going to find out the name of what I think at the time is the best deck sealer. So that's what you need to do. I don't know. That's a great question. Can you use the paint sprayer? I don't know that I would do that because the deck sealers are so easy to put on generally. You can put them on with like a paint roller. The problem with a paint sprayer is that even when you spray them on, you either may not get enough on or you may put too much on, which means you'll have to brush it. It's really important that you only put the correct amount on because if you put it too heavy, it's going to peel off. All right. So I hate to say it, I would not use a paint sprayer. They're very problematic, and if you've never used it before, you're going to have a big mess on your hands. You're going to ruin the decks. You're going to ruin them. So it's not that hard to do deck sealers, and also always do the railings first. And if they're wood railings, and make sure you have a drop cloth, like 2-3 layers or plastic to catch any drips. You don't want any of this while you're doing the handrail. You don't want any of that sealer to drip down on the deck, because it'll show up as spots later on. So do the handrails first, then the next day do the decking. Jack, oh dude, tomatoes. You tell me. Look at those bad boys. That's my best one, and they've so just 25 days ago I planted the seeds on March 1st. All right, so 25 days. That's probably I'm going to guess that thing's 5 inches tall. Let's see. Boy, do I have it right? 5 inches tall. So 5 inches tall. They're doing just fantastic. I thought I had killed them like 3 days ago because they dried out a little bit, and they came back. I watered them that afternoon. They came back alive. They came back overnight. Although it's really funny, I have one. This is the one that's the smallest. It's kind of stunted in growth, you know. Look how small that one is. It's only about 2.5, 3 inches tall. But the soil, I'm going to have to water them in the morning. Soil's just a little damp. Kathy, my wife is super green thumb. She's a professional orchid grower. And so, she said, listen, do not overwater those things, which I knew that. And anyway, so Alvertes, you're going to do great on your deck. And just so you know, you probably don't need this, but I offer phone coaching. So I can talk to you privately on the phone for 15 minutes to answer any questions. You can send me photos of the deck. I would look at your photos and I would tell you exactly how I would do it. I would tell you exactly the tools I would use, exactly what to do to get the best results. So that may be the cheapest money you spend on this whole project, is to talk to me on the phone for 15 minutes. All right. Alberto's had a great question. Those are great questions. So here's why it's important. I'm just going to mention this. Sometimes you'll hear advice like, oh, wait 6 months or whatever. No, bad idea, especially where you live. Sun's starting to get pretty intense, and you can get these micro checking cracks in the wood if you don't seal it. And the reason treated lumber goes bad is because water gets into it. So anytime the wood gets even the tiniest crack in it, the water can go deeper. So that's the whole purpose of the sealers, is to minimize the water that gets into the wood. So like I said, as soon as the treated lumber is dry enough to where you put a drop on it, and within 30 seconds, the drop disappears because it has soaked in, it's time to seal it. All right, good. All right. So, because I know you spent a lot of money on this deck, or these two decks. You spent huge money. So we do not, you don't want to ruin them on the last step by sealing them. You don't want to ruin them. All right. Because I've sealed so many. I'll give you the link too for what it's worth. If you're really interested in it, if you want to talk to me on the phone, oh, it's right here. I was right there. I don't know what was wrong with me. Like, what an idiot. All right. I'm getting a link for you. I should have these already off to the side. I don't know why. Sometimes I wonder what's wrong with me. So here, if you do decide that you want to get me on the phone, that's all you got to do. You just got to go there, place an order. Simple as that. All right. So there's the link, how to set up the phone call. What else did I want to talk about today? Remember it's kind of a soft rule here at the Ask the Builder live stream. It's called the polite rule. So if you're here and you're watching, you need to check in. It's just like if you were to go to somebody's home that you've never been to before, here's what you would not do. You would not knock on the door, they open the door, and you would not just walk right past them and go sit down on the couch. That's not what you're going to do. You're probably going to introduce yourself, right? Right? That's the polite thing to do. So you need to check in and say who you are. And it would really help me if you listed a couple of your superpowers, what superpowers you have. All right. So, all right. It's going to be, get this. It really was a nice day here today in central New Hampshire. I don't know what the temperature was, but I walked up to the mailbox. It had to be upper 40s, lower 50s. I don't know. But the sun's so warm now, it's getting high in the sky. And a really nice day. And I think we got a hell of a lot of rain overnight. I didn't hear it. I slept like a log last night. But I had to go to town this morning to go to the post office. And I'm driving down this road I normally drive down, and there was water gushing out of this pipe. I have never in all my life seen water come out of that pipe. And, it's a drainage pipe coming down off a hillside. We must have had a boatload of rain last night. Hello, Jimmy. Listen, we're sorry for your bad luck. No one wants to hear about your bad day. Don't come here and throw a wet blanket on the live stream. I'm just teasing. Tell us what happened. What, in a nutshell, why did your day go bad? And remember, the reason I'm here, the reason I do these live streams is to help save you time and money. The only way I can do that, there's only one way. You have to type a question in the chat. I'll answer the question, and odds are the answer is going to save you time and money. So please do it. Please type in your question into the chat. I got yesterday. I ordered 2 or 3 days ago, early in the week. I ordered my new monitor, and I ordered my new computer, a Mac Mini, and the monitor arrived yesterday. This thing is so big, I could put it outside and rent it as a flipping billboard. I don't even know if it's going to work on my desk. I think it's going to work. I'll make it work. But it is so flipping wide. Oh my gosh. But here's the thing. I get an email this morning from Apple. I know I ordered this on Tuesday. Yeah, I ordered it on Tuesday. No, I hear no. They just say, okay, we'll let you know when it ships. So I get an email. Oh, your thing shipped. And it's going to arrive, on April 4th. Complete losers. Complete flipping losers. I just don't know what to say. I don't. All right. Management ordered a $9,000 compressor, was the wrong one. It was actually $1,780. Oh, well, but I hope it wasn't your fault. So anyway, that sucks if it is. It sucks. Yeah, I like it. Money with wings. Oh my gosh. People are going to be suffering like that. We talked about it many times. Inflation. It's going to be really bad. Good. I'm glad it wasn't your fault. The inflation is going to get a lot worse, and there's going to be a whole lot of suffering. It's going to be horrible. So I don't know what to tell you. All right. So remember, if you have any questions about your home, now's the time to type them in. Type in your questions. because I didn't come with hardly anything prepared to talk about today. I just didn't. I just felt for sure that you were going to help me out here, and and type questions just like Richard did. So Richard put a question in. Richard Simmons, part 2. Did I miss your first part, Richard? I'm looking up here. Did I? I don't see where part 1 of your questions are. If you type part 1, I don't see it. All right, just so you know. My question is, what agent would you suggest to increase opacity without affecting the stickiness of reflect? I don't know. I have no clue what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. So sorry, can't help you. Never heard of it. We can return or take another 4 days to arrive. Copeland compressor, 9 and keep an extra factory. Yeah, so Richard, I have no clue what you're talking about. So beats me. Maybe some black paint. I don't know. That sure heck will that'll increase make it or no I'm sorry. You want to make increase opacity. So I don't know what you would do. Don't have a clue. I don't even know what Roflex is. Roplex. Don't know what it is. It is the binder acrylics. Okay, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a paint chemist. If my original business partner were here, John Pendry. John Pendry has a PhD in chemistry. His whole career he worked for Sherwin-Williams. I have a feeling he probably would know. So I don't have a clue. I'm not a paint chemist, so I can't help you. Sorry. Maybe there's a paint chemist forum out there somewhere you can get the answer. So if you have a question about your home that's not about the opacity of Roflex or Roplex, ask it. I might know the answer. I don't know that one. That's a pretty tough one. That's a pretty tough question. I am happy. Oh, I'll stay what I'll show you in the meantime. Excuse me. I've kind of gotten into buying these little Lesney, the original Lesney Matchbox, the die-cast aluminum little trucks and stuff. So I bought this one. I won this one in an auction. It's kind of a neat dump truck. It's called an 8-wheel tipper, but it's actually a dump truck, and the tailgate works. I'm sorry, I'm moving it around too much. It's in really good condition. I'm going to repaint the yellow. I think I can match the color almost perfectly. I'm sure I can. So I got this one a few days ago. It's in really, really good shape. So what's funny is I've tried to look at some original photos, and in this area, this smooth area of the truck bed, I see a lot of printing, and it kind of looks to me like I'm trying to see where. Well, you can't really see it that well. Maybe you might see it here. I think, yeah, you can see that area inside the bed where it looks like some paint's coming off. I think maybe somebody repainted the bed and they painted over the lettering. I just have a feeling. And then I won that one at an auction. Then I bought another one just outright today. This is and it's in really good shape. It's called a grit spreader. The windshield's in really good shape. Paint's in really good shape. This dump bed does not go up, but check this out. It's got a little thing in the back that comes out. If you can see that. So I can push that in, take that out. So that's the grit spreader. And inside the bed is a little slot for realism as to where the grit would go in. And I'm sure on this truck, there probably was some type of conveyor belt, But what's interesting about this one, this series, is that the diameter of the tires is bigger than this other one, just by about just under 1/8 of an inch. So they're bigger wheels. So I don't know why Lesney did that. I don't know. I don't quite understand it. But what I'm trying to do, I had talked back in some of the past live streams where I know this sounds crazy, but with respect to inflation and what's going to happen in our future here in America, you don't want to be holding a lot of cash when all of a sudden we go off the world reserve currency. You want to have things that are not cash. So I know it sounds crazy, but I'm trying to invest in these because some of these, like this thing here, I saw an ad today. This thing, one of these, I guess, in really, really good shape, $134. Um, and I only paid $10 for shipping. I only paid $5 for it, and $5 to get it to me. So might not be a bad idea to invest $500 in these things. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Jack wants to know, do you water your garden and what spring? So I don't have a garden. I don't have one. I just grow these dumb tomatoes. It's so much work to grow vegetables. We've tried it, my daughter and I, and here's the trouble. We found out we have groundhogs or something. Once the things get up a certain height, then you come out in the morning, they're gone. And my daughter got so angry. And so she says, well, Dad, we got to build a fence. And I said, well, sweetheart, how can you say no to your daughter? And I just said, well, the fence is going to cost the materials are going to cost like $300-400. I said, we might as well just go buy the flipping vegetables. I mean, seriously. So it just, it just doesn't work. And we don't have a really great spot. I mean, I'm surrounded by a lot of trees. It's just, there's only one spot in the property that's really good that gets a lot of sun, and it's very small. So we don't do it. So I don't do it. No garden. Yeah, exactly. You only get YouTube when I let you, Richard, you only get 200 characters. Yeah. So yeah, what happens is you're typing, it tells you how many characters you used up, and then once you go over it, it turns red. You can see the number go red. So, well, I don't know if I'll put them around the train now because it's all a matter of scale. I don't know what scale. I don't know if the scale of these Matchbox trucks, if it's the right scale. That's the trouble. You got to get the right scale, and if you're into model railroading, they make scale vehicles that are the proper scale. So I don't know. I don't know what scale these are. I'd have to check. See. Pretty easy to do. It's really easy to check the scale because I know how wide a modern truck is. And these trucks are probably, 7'6". A real truck is probably 7'6" wide, and you can see how many inches this is. You can do the math. All right. So anyway, Jimmy, hard accents. I don't know what that means. Oh, in short, I see. In short, it's a complaint about the dismal quality. Oh, okay, Richard. So now we're getting somewhere. Hi, Marcus. How you doing? Glad you're here. So, Richard, that's all you needed to tell me. All you needed to type was, what's a good exterior house paint? Easy. Go get Sherwin-Williams Emerald paint. It's the last I checked, it was a urethane-based paint. So go to Sherwin-Williams store, get their Emerald. That's the brand. That's the sub-brand. I mean, the overarching brand or the name of the company is Sherwin-Williams, but they have a line of paint called Emerald, just like an emerald ring, and make sure in the brochure or go to their website and see if it says it's got a urethane resin. You buy that and you follow the instructions and you wash the house down with soap and water. Don't use a pressure washer. Pressure washers do not get the house clean. Use an RV brush, soap and water. You should actually mix up this first, spray this on, let it sit 15 minutes, then wash behind with soap and water. And then and follow the instructions on the label. Paint in the shade. Don't paint in direct sunlight. I've got this. So when I painted my house 12 years ago here in New Hampshire, the paint that had the urethane was called Duration. Well, they've since brought out the Emerald, and then the Duration is now acrylic. So if you were to come to my house here in New Hampshire, there's no place where it's peeling, and it looks as good as the day we put it on. And I used that same paint on my house in Cincinnati, and I painted that house in Cincinnati 22 years ago. And I just drove by the house last October. It looks like the day I painted it. It's an incredible paint. Incredible. Bob, we garden for 50 years, but now support local farmers market. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, and I think you'll be the first to say it's so much work. I mean, I think the reason a lot of people garden is they enjoy doing it. You know, it's a recreation for them. It's not work, and good. That's a great motivation. I'm not that interested in it. I like to grow the tomatoes because they're so easy. You know, and I just started growing them from seed. I started doing that last year, and it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun to see that thing sprout up after a week. It's really cool. So, but yeah, I agree. Support the farmers market. But I don't have a big garden. So I want to tell you this. I just thought of something. It just came today, and I'd already decided what I was going to talk about today. I just got UPS dropped off maybe 2-3 hours ago. A brand new oscillating tool, cordless, from DeWalt. So we're going to talk. I'm going to demonstrate that on Monday. So that's what we're going to do on Monday. So I don't know if you know what the oscillating tools are. They're the ones that they very rapidly go back and forth. You know, the blades. They like a barber's clipper. That's the best way. A clipper that a barber uses. That's an oscillating tool. So they come with all different types of cutting things. You can cut carbide, metal, whatever. So they're very, very good for even so much like if you need to cut a hole in drywall to add an outlet, that's a really good tool to use. Anyway, I'm going to demonstrate this tool for you on Monday. Yeah, Jack, a lot of people love it. I mean, like my wife, she loves messing with her orchids. She loves it. I'm not that into plants. I'm more ham radio. All right, so ham radio, good. Plants, so. I water them, but that's about it. I don't get a lot of pleasure out of them. But I love eating tomatoes. I'm the only one in the family that eats tomatoes. To me, there's nothing like a fresh tomato. Oh my gosh, so tasty. All right, so I hope that answered your question, Richard. Sherwin-Williams paint, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Really. And if you watch it, they'll have a sale on it every now and then. You can save 20% or so every now and then. So if you're really paying attention, but really, but just if you decide to use it, just make sure you follow the instructions and don't pressure wash. Don't do it. Yeah, peas. Peas, I know you can put in early. I mean, they're very frost resistant. I've heard. My father-in-law he loved gardening too when he retired. He was very good at it, and he had a marginal area too. I was always stunned at how much stuff he could produce. He loved green beans. He had like every 3-4 days he'd walk down. He only lived like 6 houses away from us. A really unique situation. My kids were so lucky they could just walk down to their grandparents' house, ride their bikes, whatever. Very safe neighborhood. So every now and then, every 3 or 4 days, he would just walk down and bring some tomatoes, bring a bag of green beans, freshly picked green beans. It was wonderful. So, simple as that. All right. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Marcus, there we go. Fine. Where do I find all the time to do all you do? Well, that's a great question. You already know the answer to that question. All right. So, is with any person, you make time, you create the time to do the things you like to do, and take that to the next level with relationships. For example, if there's a person that you like, that you want to spend time with, you'll do whatever possible to create chunks of time to spend time with that person. Maybe it's an old high school friend. Maybe you allocate 15 minutes every weekend to call that person on the phone. I mean, you just make the time. So the sad thing is there are things that, around that get neglected that I don't care about. And I'm trying to change it a little bit. This year for me, I've been walking around too much junk and too much clutter. And I've decided that this spring, I'm just waiting for the weather to break just a little bit more. I'm going to have the biggest, I'm stuff that I really don't want. I don't think I can sell. It's going to the dump because we have a really cool place. We didn't have anything like this in Cincinnati when I was growing up, or if we did, I didn't know about it. But here in my town here, we have this thing called the free room. So it's a room that's at the recycling center. And, there's certain things you're not allowed to bring, but just about everything else qualifies. You just bring it in, man, and just drop it off. And people walk in and they take it right back out, and there's this one lady there. She's funny. I think she's making a flipping fortune on eBay. she just kind of hangs out around there. She comes in every day. She probably stops in 2-3 times a day. And she takes a lot of stuff out, and no one, and you're allowed to. No one says anything about it. They don't care. And so whatever I give away, it's going to get used, or somebody else will sell it on eBay. So anyway, that's so Marcus. I can tell you that I don't waste any time, or I waste very little time during the day. I know how valuable it is, and so I just invest it in doing things I like. So I hope that answers your question. Steve, to subscribe to the Sherwin email, and they will send you deals. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Sean, it's a battery tool. It's a 12 volt battery tool. So yeah, it's a micro. So they what's really interesting is DeWalt has, I don't know if they're aiming these tools. I think this tool, I'm going to ask the PR person, but I think they're trying to aim this tool for the homeowner because it just doesn't seem, it's not as beefy as a 20 volt, right? So it's a 12 volt. And I got from them back in the fall, and it worked really well. I got this 12 volt rotor hammer. Works really well. But I don't know that I'd be able to use it all day on a job site. I think I would burn it up. But for a homeowner who just uses it for 15, 20 minutes on a weekend, great rotor hammer, man. Great. And you can go back and look in my past live streams. I did a live stream about it. Will, do I have a favorite driveway sealer? Boy, now that's a great question. Oh my gosh. Well, the answer is no, I don't. Because get this, I've owned this home since 2008, so that's 14 years. Never sealed the driveway. Never. Probably should have once. It's now getting to the point where it's almost too late. And there's places where the driveway sunk over time. Like for example, there's a big kind of depression that's formed over the past 4 years, and I know what's there. It's where they dug across the driveway to bring the underground electric into the house, and they didn't compact the trench. They didn't do it right, and it takes a long time for that to settle. There's some other things. So maybe in the next 2 years, I might put in a new driveway. But here's what you need to know about blacktop. So the blacktop in your driveway is really not a whole lot different at all than the blacktop that's used on the roads out in the real world. All right. So you've never seen them seal a roadway. Never. They don't do it. And the reason they don't do it is because the sealer will wear off. Because all the sealer is, it's just an ultra thin coating of asphalt. The asphalt cement. And it's, if you have very tiny micro cracks, it'll seep down and fill those, which is a good thing. You don't, especially if you live here where Will and I live, where it freezes. I mean, if your blacktop driveway is down in Florida or South Carolina, you got nothing to worry about. Your blacktop, if it's put down right, your blacktop could last 30 years. All right. I mean, my blacktop is original. It was put down 22 years ago. And for the most part, it's in really pretty good shape. But just they made some mistakes. And I cover it all in past columns. Here's the trouble. If you're one of these people, I'm going to answer Will's question in reverse. When I lived back in Cincinnati, and this is in my second home, so I was in my 20s, and one of my neighbors, he lived just 2 houses away. He was one of these people he was OCD, all right? And, he wanted his driveway to look perfect every year. So every year he sealed it. Every late spring, he would be out there brushing that black crap around, and his driveway looked horrible because there were places where it had peeled up. He put so much sealer down, it would peel up, and wherever it peeled up, it looked horrible. Just like just like an old house where you see the paint's peeled and we're down to the bare wood, and then you scrape it and then you paint over it. You can see where that paint peeled. I mean, it's so obvious. But that's what his driveway looked like all over the place. It was horrible. But by God, it was black. It was black. I mean, it was black as night. All right. If you're that type of person, if you go, I want my driveway to look really good, then you want to buy the absolute cheapest driveway sealer you can find. I mean, the crappiest, cheapest sealer. And if you can't find it, then maybe you take regular sealer that's halfway decent and you probably thin it by 25% because all these sealers they're emulsified. They're water based. So take some sealer, mix it with some water so that you thin it down. Because in your case, you want your asphalt driveway sealer to do the same thing that the road paint does here in New Hampshire. So every year here in New Hampshire, they have to paint the double yellow lines again. In other words, by right about now, the double yellow lines are getting real faint. You can hardly see them. And so in a month or two, they're going to come out with the trucks and spray paint them again. And they're going to be beautiful all summer and all fall. So what happens, you want your asphalt sealer, if you're that person who has to do it every year, you want it to completely wear off by the time you get to April. All right. So anyway, Will, the best driveway sealer is going to be the one that's the most expensive, and you can put it on, but you should only be putting the driveway sealer on if your driveway has turned gray. And by that, it means that the original asphalt cement that coated all of the sand and stones from the blacktop plant has worn off. I mean, you know this. In other words, if you ever see a new roadway where they're paving a brand new roadway, what color is it the next day? It's pure black. The roadway's black. But all of a sudden you go to that roadway 3 years later and it's not black anymore. What color is it? It's gray. The reason it's gray is because if you stopped and looked down, you would see all of the stones that were used in the blacktop and that they're a lighter color. And so the asphalt cement from all the traffic and weather over the 2 years has worn the asphalt cement off. So you want that asphalt cement to wear off. So never, never, ever, ever seal a brand new driveway. Never. Hope that helps. Don, hello. Hey, Jimmy, asphalt shingles are they different materials? Florida and New Hampshire? No, not really. They may regionally blow a little bit more air in the shingles that go to Florida, maybe. But if you were to take an infrared camera on a June day in a Florida roof, my guess is it's going to be pretty close to the temperature that I've measured here in New Hampshire. I've got infrared photos of my roof temperature about 165 degrees. So they just have to blow enough air into the asphalt so that it stays, solid, so it doesn't turn to liquid and run down the roof. Because that's what would happen if they used it straight from the asphalt plant. What the softening temperature of asphalt from asphalt cement from the refinery is about 120 Fahrenheit. I mean, it turns to just like water. All right. So I hope that helps. So I don't think that there's much of a climate change. And I cover a lot of this in my roofing ripoff book. If you have not read this book, you should at least go read the 3 free chapters. Go here and read go get the 3 chapters and read the 3 free chapters. That's a great question, by the way. That's a really great question. All right, if you have a question, any kind of question, doesn't matter what it is, let me know. I'm happy to answer it. Those are really great questions. Yeah, Sean, I'm really interested to see how this 12-volt tool does. I have to read the press release. Sometimes in the press release, they'll tell you, how many cuts it's made. They've got they've got really good mechanical and electrical engineers that work at some of these tool manufacturers. I've gone on editors tours. I've got to meet these engineers. They do some really impressive testing because there's a lot of money behind these tools. They don't want to, and there's a brand to protect. So they don't want to put crap out there. They don't want to put crap out there. So, but you also have to understand that they make tools. They try to match the tools up with the user. So I like I said, I have to read the press release. I don't know that, like I said, I don't know that this tool is meant to be used by a finished carpenter all day long. I don't know that it's built for that. All right. Any other questions about anything? I don't care what it is. Happy to answer it. If you don't have any questions, I may just bug out of here. It's the end of the week. I've worked pretty hard this week, and I'm out of things to say. I don't know what else to say, but I'm happy to answer questions. So I know there's a delay, so I'll let you, if you're here and you've got a question, you better ask it really quickly. That's all I can tell you. Better ask the question, and then I'll get to it. In the meantime, I've really been enjoying. I told you the story. I found this calculator. It had been sitting in a box for 12 years, sitting in a flipping box, and I found it. And just a standard little calculator, but it's really a nice calculator. And it's got this solar charging cell. And I was stunned. It had been sitting in a box for 12, 13 years. I turned it on, it worked perfectly. So I've been every day that it's sunny, I put it in the window to try to get the battery way up charging. But this is a really tiny solar cell, but it's also got a tiny battery. So I have long since lost the paperwork. I don't know how long you'd have to put it in the sun to fully charge the battery. But I was using it a couple of times a day. It's a nice little handy calculator. So it's not a real high-powered one. I have those. In fact, I have a Construction Master one, and I have this other one. Here, I'll show you. I used this calculator yesterday. I had this is a really neat calculator. So this one is called the Sonnen Inchmate. Sonnen Inchmate. This is probably 15-year-old technology, but works really great. And this is one that, as a carpenter, I would use this, to figure out roof pitches and dimensions. It goes down to the 64th of an inch. It's really very powerful capability. You can square things up with this. You can figure out diagonals. It's just so these are really cool calculators, very affordable. So I don't know, maybe I'll write a column about them, but I'd have to get the modern ones, see what the modern ones are. But really it's a great calculator. Great. So this is just so you know, if you don't have one and you're looking for a Father's Day gift, or you want to surprise your significant other, who, you'll never go wrong buying a calculator like this. All right. One of the fancy ones that can do all the diagonals and the rise and run and all that. Very fascinating. If you have any questions about it. So it's the same one. I washed it. It's my American flag one, made out of the water things. The water things. Squirt water. Like, if you like to squirt water, you're going to love this shirt. Yeah. So Jimmy, yeah, you can figure, that one is, so here's the other one. This is the Construction Master Pro one. So, and here's the, yeah. And so right here, so look, so right there, I don't know if you can read that. So right there, it says cubic entry and conversion. So yeah, this will completely do all of the stuff you need to do to figure cubic yards. So this is and it comes with, this one came with a really great manual that goes in the back goes in that back slot right there. This is from Calculated Industries. They make great stuff. So Calculated Industries, if you want to get one of these fancy calculators, that's the company right there. Great stuff. Great products. Can't say enough about them. But I'm just saying that's a really neat gift for that hard to buy person, and especially if they're like a kind of a serious carpenter, they're going to love it. They're going to love that calculator. Yeah, Ask the Builder T-shirts. So Jimmy, I'm working on that. I started on that pathway about 2 weeks ago, and then I got derailed because I need high quality vector graphics. So I just kind of fell by the wayside. So yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the images and have people vote to see. In fact, I can do that now. I think what I'll do is I'll probably create a Google form, and we'll do it next week so it's more organized. And I'll ask people what they want. Like, what would you want to see on the T-shirt? Like, what, I mean, what I want to do, and it only would make sense to the people who watch this live stream, is, the sayings like, that you've heard me say, nothing about this is hard. I've got some other sayings that we were going to put on them. Anyway, so yes, the answer is yes. And, but they're going to be pretty benign for the most part. I've got to kind of protect my brand. All right. So I don't want to trash it. So anyway, and we're going to have hats. My son's company, I'll show you this hat. A lot of people, I'm going to give him a plug. A lot of people, my son works for a company called Simpress. It's a privately owned company owned by a very wealthy man in the Netherlands. And they own like 30, 40 websites. And one of them you probably know, called Vistaprint. All right, you've heard of Vistaprint. You just think, oh, Vistaprint. Yeah, they just print business cards. If I need business cards, yeah, they do. They do print business cards, but they also do this. You can get beautiful hats. So my son came up with this design. I came up with all this, and I came up with the words, but I wasn't really happy with how this came out, because this is 2 words, but it looks like one. There's not enough space here. So it says Airwaves Boss. All right. So, but this is a beautiful embroidered hat, and it doesn't have that crappy, stupid thing on the back. It's got some elastic in it, so it stretches. It's a wonderful hat. So we're going to have Ask the Builder hats like this. We're going to have really cool Ask the Builder hats. So, all right. Will says, gifts. The wife kept leaving jewelry magazines around the house, so I just got her a magazine rack. There's I don't know if it's if you have one where you live near you. Well, you kind of do. You just have to go up the highway, Will, from your house, to that Gardner Burdick, or that Gardner Plaza, that big rest area. They've got that center and that rest area, that all this craftsmen from Maine. Well, we have a really neat place in my own town, New Hampshire Craftsmen's Guild. I don't know, but there's some really talented people here in flipping New Hampshire that make jewelry. And I've walked in that shop a couple of times. I'm stunned at some of the jewelry that they have here. It's one of a kind, absolutely beautiful stuff. So if you really want to surprise your wife, so the day you come to play golf, you probably ought to stop by that shop. So really, it's right in Meredith. I don't know. Maybe you can buy online. I'll find out what the name is. Just put New Hampshire Craftsmen's Guild, Meredith, New Hampshire. I'm sure it'll come up in the Google search. All right. So anything else I can answer? Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. I had a busy week. Luckily, this weekend, I don't have a lot of stuff that's pressing to do. So the weather, I looked at the, maybe Kathy I think Kathy told me the other day. She said, did you see what the weather forecast is for next? Oh, no, it was my buddy Jim. He told it me on the phone this morning. He said, you see the weather? There's a day it's only going to be 24 degrees. Like, what? So sure enough, late this morning, whatever, I look at the phone Monday here in New Hampshire, where I live. It's supposed to be 24 degrees. Are you kidding me? But that can happen in March. I mean, it can happen. So we're going to have a cold day on Monday, but then it's going to kind of get back up again. The last thing I'll say is the ice on the lake getting pretty thin. It was very thin down in Meredith Bay today. I mean, they could have ice out in Meredith Bay over the weekend. But we're not going to have ice out on my lake, I don't think, of the weekend. No way. But ice out, I think, is going to happen next week here on my lake. So that's always a wonderful day. We get the water back, because it's very mesmerizing. That's why, just so you know, I'll just teach you something really quickly. The reason people are attracted to water and why a water view is so interesting is because almost all the time the water's moving. All right. That resets the flight thing in your brain. Whereas in the wintertime, when the lake freezes and it's just this sheet of white, you just look at it and you go, okay, big deal. But even when the water is just moving, you're fascinated by it. 95 at your brother's house in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Wow. Yeah, I know. I've been out in Arizona when it's hot and played golf. It's just freaking miserable. Oh my God. I don't like playing golf when it's hot. I know there's going to be some days in the league where it's going to be miserable. Oh, well, I'll just have to suck it up and put up with it. Oh, well. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be cold on Monday. It's going to be cold. So, the other good thing to report is, so it was just under a week ago, I changed that brake hose, the brake line hose on my truck, my left front wheel, working fine. That's all it was just the hose. It was not the caliper. So just cost me $50 in 1 hour's time. I like doing work like that. I like doing it. I mean, I'm not taking engines apart, but I sure as hell can work on brakes. They're not that hard to do. All right. If you got any questions, now's the time. Last call for questions. Otherwise, I'm out of here. Had a pretty good week, and weekend should be great. I hope you have a great weekend. We're going to do that tool on Monday. 8-bit vinyl checking. You're checking in. I'm just about ready to check out. So if you've got a question, now's the time to ask it. So don't be bashful. I'll get an ice cube or a little bit of a drink while you're checking in. Oh, so yeah, the Carvana kid, she gets her car on Sunday. So everything has been approved. She gets the car on Sunday. She's so excited. And then she's going to drive Sunday night to go stay in a hotel for her interview on Monday, because it's a 2-hour drive to where she's going to get interviewed. So I can't tell you where it is. And she didn't tell us, but we think we figured it out. We pretty much have a really good idea where she's going. Oh, there, now you're talking golf. Here's the deal. So Will, I got a question for you. Are the black flies a problem on that golf course? Like when the black flies are really out, is it a problem at the Fox? While Will's typing that, I'll ask 8-bit vinyl. 8-bit vinyl, do you have an interest in going to play golf up there with Will? So we said where it was, Lewiston, Maine. All right, so it's exit number 75 on I-95 in Maine. If you just type that into Google Maps, you'll find where it is. It's called Fox Ridge Golf Club. It's a public course. So let me know if you're interested in going up there, and if you're interested before that time, if you want to do a round of golf with me, here in New Hampshire, I'm all over it. All right, okay, so I'll play a warm up round here in New Hampshire, before we go over to Will and make fools of ourselves in front of Will. And my home course is Lockmere in Tilton, Um, oh, you usually play, oh, Pheasant Ridge. Yeah, that's a great course too. I'll play Pheasant Ridge. I like it. Pheasant Ridge, pretty easy course. It's easier than Lockmere, so I'm all over that. I'll play Pheasant Ridge. That's a great. I like it. I'll play Pheasant Ridge. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, you want to play anytime? Just let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. Tim at askthebuilder.com. Just uh, happy to do it. You know, I just would like the weather to be a little warmer. I mean, like a 60-degree day. Not if there's a breeze. Only the par 3, 13 valleys where they can get bad. Okay. Yeah. So I don't want to come up there to the Fox when the black flies are out. Screw the black flies. I want to have fun that day. So we might not be coming to the Fox until the end of May. All right. So whatever. But 8-bit vinyl eye. Hopefully we're going to get out and play Pheasant Ridge. Great course, Pheasant Ridge. It's a wonderful course. I like it. They got that. There's hole number 2. So Will, of course, it's not really like yours. So hole number 2, Will, at Pheasant Ridge, par 3. You got to hit over this really big pond, like a lake. It's big, and I mean it's a makeable shot, but pretty big green. Yeah, exactly. It's two right now. Not this week, not next week, but you know what? By the 3rd week of April, could be time. And I per Will's advice, just so you know, I've never joined a league, but I joined the league at Lockmere, and I sent in my paperwork this week, and I'm in. And they said we're going to start playing first week of May. So maybe you and I could play, 3rd, 4th, a month from now, would be a great time. So we'll talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. That pond. I mean, Will's a pro. Will's a pro. He's played all these. He knows. But I don't think I've ever been in the water, but I've been a little short of the green. And I know one time I was a little long on that hill, but it's a pretty big green. So I think, to me, I'm trying to think about it. I think that's the hardest hole on the course, I think, to me. I don't know. It's a great course, though. It's a great course. So I don't know. I'm going to say that, I mean, I know I hit it with an iron. I'm going to say 150, 160. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Sean, 78 in Fort Lauderdale. You're killing me. Oh my gosh. I haven't been to Florida in a while. I used to go every June for the Sears Editors Conference. Yeah, I would agree with that, 8-bit. 165. I would agree with that. Because that's why I would use my 4-iron. My irons are right where they're supposed to be. If and Will can tell me if I'm right. I always thought that the number on the iron, like a 4-iron, you match that up to make 10. So in other words, my 4-iron will go 160 yards. I mean, that's what it does. So my 7 goes 130 and my 8 goes 120, So that's as long as I keep my head down and don't open up the club face. So the second 9 will, I can't remember 8-bit. One of the 9 seems easier than the other. I can't remember. But it's not, all I can remember is the Pheasant Ridge is not a tough course. It's not, Lockmere, it's got some holes, man, that will rip your flipping heart out. But Lockmere's also got a lot of what I consider very wide open, easy holes too. So I don't know. What I should do more often is probably just keep the driver in the flipping truck. Don't even bring it. Don't even take it onto the course. I've said this, I think I told the story. So this was probably 18 years ago. My kids, I was kind of into golf back then, but I sucked. I didn't still golf enough. So my kids bought me a 4-lesson package with a golf pro in Cincinnati. And we ended up becoming friends, this golf pro. really good guy. He's a really good guy. Really was into the internet, and his name is Joel Suggs. So Joel Suggs, Suggs. Look him up. And one of the cool things that he offered is one of the lessons, he would play 9 holes with you. And I know this sounds crazy, but my bucket list was I always wanted to play a round of golf with a pro because I want to see how they do it. And the first hole, I'm not kidding. The first drive, it was a par 4 hole. He drives it into the freaking rough. He slices it, into the freaking rough. I was like, are you serious? But he goes out there, second shot, puts it on the green. so they got these superpowers, So anyway, but what he taught me, the biggest takeaway was it's about distance. It's not about aim. And most of us hackers are more focused on aim than we are distance. And that becomes exceedingly important when you are on or near the green. Because if you watch pros, when either they putt or they chip, like a chipping, if they're chipping, they probably can get the ball to stop within, I'm just going to say this, well, I could be wrong. I don't watch a lot of TV golf, but when they're chipping in pretty close, when they're close, they seem to be able to get the ball within 6 to 8 feet of the hole. When they're putting, if they're putting on the green, just about no matter where they are on a green, even if it's a big green, if they miss, they're okay with that generally. Generally, they're okay with missing, but they want the ball to stop within about this far of the hole. And most of them are very good about that because then it's a tap in for most. I mean, they miss some of those, but that's what the pro taught me about distance. So I'm really pretty good on the green. Like I've got that down. I have to practice, and I know the greens can get faster as the day goes on, but you'll see most hackers. I mean, the problem with most hackers is they're sitting there lining up a putt, lining it up, and they hit the ball and they miss, and it stops 10 feet later, or it's 8 feet short. I mean, that's death on a stick. That's bogey golf, or double bogey golf right there. All right. I feel like the front 9 is harder. I think I would agree with you on that. I think that's what I agree. I think about that. I'm just kind of pull a mental image up. I didn't play Pheasant Ridge last year. I played it 3 times the year before. All right. Actually played 18 holes yesterday. Good for you. Good for you. Our courses up here in New Hampshire just starting to open up, Sean. Just starting to open up. So we should do a Ask the Golfer live stream one day. All right. One thing we're going to definitely do, I swear to God, we're going to do this. If 8-Bit goes with us, it's going to be a lot of fun. If 8-Bit goes with us to the Fox, goes with me to the Fox, because we'll drive up. Well, hopefully we'll drive up together. We'll figure out a way to do that because it'll be so much more fun. We're going to record a video for all the live streamers, all of our friends that can't make it. And it's going to be the video where, I don't know if Will wants to be on the video. It's up to him. But if not, I'm going to describe the hole, and I'm going to describe. So this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're trying to do here. And then we're going to do the confessional. After we walk off the green, we're going to do the confessional and say what happened. It's going to be a great video. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great video. I've only played Canterbury one time. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. We're going to have a great time. Marcus, for tee shots and fairway shots, you need consistency in the swing. Absolutely. Absolutely, Marcus. Marcus, do you play? You're in Ireland, right? Do you play golf, Marcus? So you got me to stick around by talking about golf. You got me to stick around. Will, I cannot wait. I mean, Will is a good golfer, man. He's a freaking hustler. We're not, I think I'm willing to bet 50 cents a hole with Will. I may do 50 cents a hole if he's willing to do it. Okay, good for you. Good for you, Marcus. I I'm a typical hacker. All right, so that's what we call us in America. I I don't know. My handicap is let's see, what would it be? 30. I don't know. 30, somewhere between 30 and 35. I don't know. I've only been in the 90s, I think, 4 times in my life. Bring your quarters. Exactly. We have some great courses, but I'm not the best. Yeah, and that's how I am. Just so you know, I'm not one of these guys that bends clubs or throws clubs. Um, if I lose a ball, I know this sounds crazy. Like if I hit a ball, off it goes into the woods. I just laugh. I go, "There's a gift for somebody." Seriously, because I mean, think about it. Every time, think about it. When you've gone out and you've been looking for balls and you find them, and you find some that are in good shape. I mean, it's like Christmas morning. I'm serious. Most people are like, "Oh, I found 2 or 3 balls." So every time I make a bad shot, I've just made somebody happy in the future. I mean, what's wrong? That's you can't get any better than that, you know. Oh, Will is going to kick our ass. It's just going to kick our ass. We're going to. I mean, he's going to make so much money off the holes. He's going to pay for lunch for us, you know. Yeah, I'll be trying too hard to mess up. Yeah, right. It's gonna. We're just going for fun anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm going for the social thing. So, so I don't get upset ever about anything. And the reason why is because I'm not a professional. All right. So if I was a professional, I might grumble a little bit if I hit a bad shot, you know. But the way I look at it, and I already know I've had people answer me that. Like, here's what I know. I just know that Phil Mickelson, he cannot. I don't think he can cut a roof rafter. I don't think he can do it right the first time. I don't for sure he can't cut a hip rafter or a hip jack or a valley jack rafter. I know. He can pay somebody else to do it. But that's not what we're having play here. It's like, okay, Phil, I'll do some golf, but then you got to do some roof framing. So everybody's got a different set of skills. So yeah, mocha chip ice cream, 2 miles from the course. I'm all over that. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and I don't like in the height of the summer, as you well know, 8-bit knows we have poison ivy up here, so I'm allergic to poison ivy, so I know exactly what it looks like. So I'm always looking for poison ivy at the edge of the tree line. If there's poison ivy, I'm not going in, not going there. Um, so anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Hour and 32 minutes, long time. Starting to cloud up here. Uh, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We'll see. So we're going to have fun. So that's going to be cool. 8-bit. So we want to play in about a month if we can. That would be great. And my schedule's wide open, so I can just play. Just the only time I can't play is Sunday morning, because I go to church. So yeah, um, yeah, the poison ivy, bad stuff. Now I learned a lot about poison ivy. I'm highly allergic, but I learned this about. I finally, with the internet, I finally figured it. Finally learned about it. So I can take poison ivy, the plant, and rub it on my arm, rub it on my hands, rub it on my face. I won't get it because what happens? You have so much time. Depends on the temperature, but you have so much time to wash it because of the oil. So I've tested it before. I've taken poison ivy, put it on my arms, and I just go inside. Got this really good soap, wash my arm really, really well, wash it twice. Don't get it. So it's just a matter of, um, and I'm not going to do this golfing. I'm not going to carry water with me and soap, but it's just that if you just wash your where you touched. But the problem is, as you well know, you can get it on your pants or on your shoes, and if you tie your shoes and you forgot about it, the oil of the poison ivy plant is still on the shoelaces. So all of a sudden you've got poison ivy in between your fingers. And there's nothing more painful than those stupid blisters in between your fingers. It's horrible. Um, uh, I have days off at the end of the week. Okay, yeah. We want to play at the end. We want to play weekday. Especially if we can play on a Thursday. Thursday would be amazing. Well, until my league starts. My league is Thursday afternoon. But weekends are just so crowded. I don't know, but we'll figure something out. All right. I'm going to get out of here. All right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you just have to wash. Like if you get in contact, you just got to wash, and with it, and you got a few hours. It doesn't have to be in minutes. You can wait an hour sometimes. All right, go read about it. Go read about poison ivy and washing hands. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for putting up with the golf discussion. 8-bit and I and Will are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a that's I'm telling you, that video is going to be classic. It's going to be so much flipping fun because the beginning of the video, just so you know, I can already see it in my head, is going to be just full of optimism, full full of these unicorns and rainbows, and then at the end, after we walking off 18, it's going to be like, what was I thinking? It's going to be such a good video. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, hit the like the golfer button. Exactly. Yeah, we didn't get many likes today, man. People were stingy on the flipping likes. All right, Oh well. Oh well. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks very much for being here today. I'm Tim Carter. You've been watching Ask the Builder, and I'll be here on Monday, and hopefully, gonna have a really nice weekend.